Fox News is now streaming live on Fox One. When news breaks, we don't just report it. We go beyond the headlines to get the full story. Get live coverage, in-depth analysis, and perspectives from the voices you trust, all in one place. Whether you're at home or on the go, stay connected to the stories shaping our world. Stream Fox News on Fox One. Download today.
Sunday morning. Well, with us today is Jesse Arm, and he's the Executive Director of External Affairs and Chief of Staff at the Manhattan Institute. And Jesse, a lot of things going on with our budgets in New York City, New York State. Some of the hospitals have called me they can't pay their bills because New York State budget has not been passed. New York City, Moody's and S&P are keeping their eyes open. Give us your interpretation. What's going on?
Well, the latest, John, is that the bond market is sending New York City a pretty clear warning signal. So think of this municipal bond market as essentially Wall Street's version of a credit score for the city. When investors feel confident that a city is being run responsibly, they're willing to accept lower returns to lend it money. But when they get nervous, like they are right now with a socialist Mamdani at the helm, they're starting to demand higher returns to compensate for the risk. And that's what's happening now. Since last February, the yields on New York City's main two forms of debt have spiked between something like 16 and 17%. That's basically the market's way of telling us we're not sure this city is really being run by adults anymore. And the scary part is that every time those borrowing costs go up, the city has to spend even more just to service its existing debt, which means less money for basic services and even higher taxes on the people like you who are still crazy enough to stay because you love the Big Apple so much.
Well, we really do love the Big Apple, and we want to be able to save it. And what I said to the mayor is you're on either the brink of success or the brink of disasters. But he's a smart guy, and I'm hoping he's on the brink of success because we want to save our city.
We're all rooting for the success of New York City. But what you mentioned earlier and what is happening now is that Moody's could downgrade New York City. That would be a very big deal. So who is Moody's? They are one of the most powerful financial rating agencies in the world. They essentially grade how trustworthy a borrower is, whether that's a corporation or a city government. And right now they're warning explicitly that they may downgrade New York City's credit rating, citing what they call sizable and persistent budget gaps. Okay, that's basically fancy language for saying that the city is spending way more than it's taking in and there's no credible plan to fix it. And what makes this especially alarming is that even New York City's own, another guy who's a lefty, he's a good guy, but he's a lefty, Mark Levine, the comptroller, is saying that this is a guy who's cheerleaded for a lot of the Mamdani agenda, is saying that this is a really sobering wake-up call, okay? This is the first time the city has received this kind of warning since COVID. The difference is COVID was an act of God. This is an entirely self-inflicted wound, and it's the direct result of putting a socialist at the helm who has not a lot of experience in charge of running things like the largest city in America.
You're absolutely right. I mean, we need to do the right thing, and if you saw my discussions on television the other day, I said that New York is the greatest city in the world, and we got to keep it the greatest city in the world. Anything else you want to tell the American people? Or the New Yorkers?
I just want to Well, I think the parting thought that I'll leave them with is that this is the concept that every New Yorker really needs to understand, because this is where socialism goes wrong at the city level, classically. New York is already carrying up to roughly $100 billion in debt, okay? And just paying the interest on that debt eats up about 10 cents of every dollar in the city's budget, and that number is growing. So you layer on top of that the Mamdani plan to raise taxes and unleash spending to pay for it, for all of his free promises. What's going to happen? The high earners and businesses who actually fund this city through their taxes with what they've always done are going to have the government squeezing too hard, and then they're going to leave. And when they leave, the tax base shrinks, the budget gaps get bigger, the credit rating falls further, borrowing costs get even higher, and the city has to raise taxes again, which pushes even more people out. That is the kind of classic socialist doom loop, and it has bankrupted many cities and countries throughout history. The bond market is now seeing this coming, and the only question is whether New Yorkers wake up before that bill comes due.
Well, Jesse Arm, Manhattan Institute, thank you so much for getting it off your chest, and I think everybody believes you're more right than wrong.
Good to be with you, John. Take care. Have a good one.
Thank you.